Hello and welcome to a very special Granada Reports live from the beautiful city of Porto here in Portugal, where in just over 24 hours' time Manchester City will be playing here in their first ever Champions League final. Here's what's coming up. You're gonna be the one that saves me. Painting the town blue, where with the fans soaking in the sun, sights and sounds of Porto before the biggest night in Man City's history. The path to Portugal, the City legends who say tomorrow's final is the climax to a long and remarkable resurgence.
Get me to get my book autographed at Winslow, do you remember that?
What I remember is like someone like pulling me into a bookstore and saying,
The more the merrier, the Smiths legend pops next door for a brew and a chat with his footballing hero.
And in the rest of the day's news and sport, arriving at court, a trial date set for next year as Ryan Giggs faces charges of assault against his ex-girlfriend. Vaccination drive in Blackburn. Lancashire is now at the centre of a major surge in new COVID cases. We'll be live with the latest.
And if you're looking for the weather for the Champions League final in Porto tomorrow evening, or for the bank holiday weekend in Morecambe, it's all coming up later.
So welcome to the Estadio do Dragão here in Porto, the Stadium of the Dragon. How Manchester City fans hope their team will be on fire against Chelsea tomorrow. All day long their fans have been pouring into Porto. Each club has only been given an allocation of around 6,000 tickets each. That's because of COVID restrictions, but none of that has stopped the City fans from making their presence felt in Porto today. They've come to the City of Bridges with one last river to cross. Many fans don't have tickets but dare not miss their club's European coronation.
Why would you not come? Tomorrow night is the night that we prove we're the best team ever on British soil.
It's the Champions League final, first time there, can't miss it, and then ticket might pop up and we'll be there, won't we?
Are you not a bit concerned about getting sunburned today?
It's massive, it's like the pinnacle, isn't it, of being a City fan.
Yeah, 20 years ago we lost at Lincoln. Says everything, doesn't it?
We thought, you know what, after 12 or 13 months of not doing very much, was going to come anyway.
The price is absolutely ridiculous.
How much have you paid to get out here?
£2,800 without a ticket.
Why?
It's history.
Foden is going to be there, isn't he? City boy, Stockport, Iniesta, backing it in the back of the net. You're gonna be the one that saves
me. They've travelled thousands of miles, either with or without tickets, just to turn Porto into an oasis of blue. Even the police are wearing City colours. Only 5,850 citizens will get to roar inside the Estadio do Dragão. But after missing them at every step on the road to Porto, the players are relishing this reunion.
For us, it's also great for us players. I mean, at the end, we started to love this game because of the emotions, that are transported from outside to the pitch, from the pitch to the outside. This got taken from us last year. It's been difficult to deal with it. And I'm sure it's going to be a great atmosphere, even though the stadium will not be full. It's probably the biggest game of all of our lives.
In this period we live, we make back-to-back for the first time. We break a lot of records for first time, arrive the final for the first time. So as a club, as an organization, we are not old. But sometimes clubs need more finals to win the first one, and other clubs need just one shot to be the champion.
Fans back home who had to settle for any vantage points for the semi-final will this time be allowed to gather indoors and share in the drama. For 90 nervous minutes, they'll be bricking it. These are the scenes at least half of Manchester is dreaming of. Here at the Legoland Discovery Centre, they've already brought the Champions League trophy to the Etihad Stadium, complete with Granada sports correspondents ready to report on the homecoming. All we need to make all this dream a reality is for City not to go to pieces.
If you're talking about international footballers, they can handle this situation, not a problem.
Club legend Mike Summerby has spent the pandemic in a bubble with the players. He doesn't see theirs bursting.
Half of them don't even know who I am anyway, but they wonder who's he. But at the end of the day is, I'm privileged to be able to travel with them and to watch them training. I saw the great Hungarians play with Puskás and Hidikuti at Wembley when they beat England. That's the best I've ever seen. And then now I see this.
What would this mean to the club, to the fans, to you?
Well, I think this is like climbing Mount Everest. When you climb up there and you get to the top, it's exactly the same as winning the Champions League.
As City focus on the glittering prize they could win, they haven't lost sight of the icon they lost. 4 months after the death of Colin Bell, Pep Guardiola dedicated the Premier League title to the club's greatest ever player, who'll be in their thoughts again for the final.
It makes us feel incredibly emotional and very proud. I think he'd feel a little bit embarrassed. He met Pep a few times but never wanted to impose himself. He never thought he was special in any way. I said to my wife this morning that I was coming to give an interview. She said, your dad would never be doing that. I've been told Dad's represented that 12th man this season, but I think he's represented everybody and the loss that we've all felt, whether that is through bereavement or personal loss.
Their opponents won't buy into sentiment and won't fear City. Chelsea knocked them out of the FA Cup and beat them at the Etihad 3 weeks ago, but that's only made Pep more defiant.
Congratulations for Chelsea. I'm so confident in my team. You cannot imagine how confident I am in my team and what you have to do.
Birdman, you saw me standing alone.
In this 2,000-year-old city, Manchester City can be history makers.
Birdman!
Well, Manchester City have never played in a Champions League final before. In fact, they only have one European trophy to their name. That was the Cup Winners' Cup back in 1970. If they are crowned Kings of Europe here tomorrow, it will cap a remarkable resurgence. Remember, just 22 years ago, they were playing in the third tier of English football. David Chisnall has been speaking to 4 Manchester City legends, all hoping for an end to a European drought stretching back half a century.
Slip inside the eye of Manchester City 51 years ago. This incredible home footage shot by one of their goalkeepers, Harry Dowd, gives a unique insight into the club's celebrations for their one and only European triumph.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's great to see them.
It's fantastic to see them.
See them with their wives enjoying themselves.
City legends Tony Book and Joe Corrigan were part of the team that brought the Cup Winners' Cup back to Manchester in 1970.
That's when we got to the town hall.
Yeah, that's brilliant, yeah.
And this journey down memory lane gives a glimpse into their own personal past.
It was just fantastic. A young kid coming in, it's my first season. We'd won the League Cup in March, I think it was. Then we were in the final, and to go out there, I've never experienced anything like it.
It's amazing. I was very, very fortunate, to get a chance to come to Manchester City. When I was 32 years of age. You're thinking about retirement and not about starting. We were lucky enough to win some trophies in our time.
Well, City's heroes' homecoming in 1970 came after victory in Vienna. The standout moment from that 2-1 win in the final over their Polish opponents, well, the bad weather.
The one thing we can all remember is the fact that it rained from the minute the kick-off right the way through, and the girls had to sit in the stand. And we went to the reception after, and they were sat there drowned in rats. They'd all been out to have their hair done in the morning, and then we saw them after, and it was. But we had a right party after that. Fantastic.
We were an amazing team for enjoying ourselves when we won anything. With the likes of Franny and Colin and Mike. When we knocked off trophies, we didn't have to enjoy ourselves.
Under the management of Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison, City enjoyed success both home and abroad in the 1960s and 70s. But decades on from those highs came the club's lowest low, when in 1998 they were relegated to the third tier of football for the first time in their history.
Despite every effort today, Their side has gone down.
They weren't down for long though, and the following year won promotion via the playoffs in typical City fashion. Trailing 2-0 at 90 minutes, they scored twice in added time. Before eventually beating Gillingham on penalties.
It's saved by Nicky Weaver.
It was the most memorable moment of Joe Royle's 3 years as manager, which saw him lead the club back to the Premier League.
We had one season when Macclesfield was our derby game, and then a couple of seasons later we're back to Manchester United being the derby game. You can only admire what's happened there now, but wonder what would have happened had the Gillingham game not worked out as it did.
Well, many City supporters see Gillingham as the major turning point for the club after years of decline.
Where they came from, and we weren't very good when I was playing, to 20 odd years later winning Premier League titles, Champions League finals, it's just amazing.
Tell me about Cityitis, a phrase you coined.
Just when you think nothing can go wrong, because something does.
Do you think they still have it now?
No.
Do you think Pep has Cityitis now?
I think Pep's got the antidote.
Along with a great manager, a great deal of money has also helped to bring back the glory days to City. Since his takeover in 2008, Abu Dhabi's Sheikh Mansour has ploughed in more than £1 billion to the club. For domestic titles and trophies, the one piece of silverware missing is the European Cup. The city's only captain to ever lift a European trophy believes that's about to change.
This is our year again, yeah. It's been a long time coming round, but with Pep and the squad of players that he's put together with his staff, I can only see them winning it.
I wish it for him and I wish it for the players. And at the end of the day, I wish it for us because we were there before them, but let's see them win it and take the pressure off us now.
Half a century after the likes of Bell, Lee and Buck, now the likes of De Bruyne, Foden and Sterling are hoping to add their names to a very exclusive list of City's continental conquerors. David Chisnell, ITV News, Manchester.
Some fabulous archive there. Later in the show we'll be hearing from two of City's best known fans who also happen to be next door neighbours. But for now we'll head to the studio where Anne has the rest of the day's news.
Chris, thank you. It's good to see that the sun does still exist and is shining on you there in Porto. We'll see you later in the programme. In tonight's other news, the former Manchester United star Ryan Giggs will go on trial next year on charges of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Giggs, who's also the manager of the Wales national team, denies all charges against him. He appeared at Manchester Crown Court earlier, and a warning there's some flash photography in this report from Leisha McNally.
Well, it was a very short appearance here in Manchester this morning, all over in just 15 minutes. But it was Ryan Giggs' first appearance before a Crown Court since his arrest. Now, it's alleged that on the night of November the 1st last year, the former Manchester United player deliberately headbutted his ex-girlfriend, 36-year-old Kate Greville, causing her actual bodily harm. He's also accused of beating her younger sister Emma during the same alleged incident at his home in Worsley. Now, the third charge relates to coercive or controlling behaviour, and it's alleged that the current Wales boss used violence, isolation, humiliation and abuse to control Kate Greville throughout their 3-year relationship. Now, Ryan Giggs was not called upon to speak in today's proceedings, but has previously said that he denies all allegations against him and is looking forward to clearing his name. His trial has been set for January the 24th. And the question of which 12 men and women will be asked to sit on the jury for that trial was raised today, Ryan Giggs being such a well-known figure in the world of football. But the judge said that they would have to trust the jury to recognise that this case is nothing to do with football or allegiance to a public team, adding it will be a matter for the trial judge to decide on come January. Until then, Ryan Giggs remains on conditional bail and he must have no contact with either Miss Greville or her younger sister.
Leisha McNally reporting from Manchester Crown Court. Next, vaccinations and surge testing have been continuing in our region throughout the day. Latest government figures show that of the top 5 worst hit parts of the UK, infection rates are now rising fastest in Rosendale in Lancashire. Blackburn with Darwin's rates are also climbing, along with neighbouring Hyndburn. Health officials are investigating how many are down to the so-called Indian variant of COVID. Well, our correspondent Rob Smith is in Blackburn now. Rob, there's a real focus on the particular area of the town where you are.
Yeah, health officials have been going up and down streets of houses, knocking on doors, asking whoever answers, whoever is at home, encouraging them to take a test to try and find out just exactly what is going on with that faster spreading variant. They want to gather that data because, as the authorities put it, this area, Sheer Brow, has higher levels of that variant than necessarily other parts of Blackburn. They're also trying to persuade people to get a vaccination, to come to centres like this one, where there's been a steady queue of people the whole time we've been here. Another that we filmed at earlier today was equally busy, and medics stressing how important vaccines are. The COVID infection rate in Blackburn with Darwin now the second highest in the country at 355 per 100,000 people, and neighbouring Rosendale having the biggest increase in the country, jumping from 40 to 212. Public health experts across Lancashire and across the northwest wanting to ensure that kind of spike isn't repeated elsewhere.
It's a bit of follow the data, not the dates kind of thing, and that's what we are doing. We're very closely monitoring the situation, but we very much hope that we have acted more proactively and we will prevent the situation becoming one like, for example, Bolton, where the rates are very high. I think we have been very closely also working with the team in Bolton and Blackburn with Darwin, so we're constantly learning from each other and trying to get ahead of this in Lancashire.
And Rob, a real increase in efforts to drive down these figures gets underway tomorrow.
Yeah, the Army will be helping to hand out testing kits and take them back in so that they can be sent off to the labs to get that all-important data that you've just been hearing about. And one slight bit of positivity, the Chief Executive of Blackburn with Darwin Council thinks their case rate is about 7 to 9 days behind Bolton. Bolton is plateauing now. The hope is it does that here in the near future.
Rob Smith in Blackburn, thank you. 2 men have been killed in a crash on the M60 after a car was pursued by police. Officers spotted a potentially stolen BMW in South Manchester last night. It failed to stop and ended up driving the wrong way down the motorway. The car then collided with an oncoming Vauxhall. The 18-year-old driver of the BMW and the 77-year-old driver of the Vauxhall were both killed. The Independent Office for Police Conduct is investigating and appealing for witnesses. The RNLI and Coast Guard are warning people to stay safe if they're heading for the northwest coast over the bank holiday weekend. They're calling on visitors to only go to beaches that have lifeguards on them and to check tide times and always carry a mobile phone. The RNLI have released this video showing how quickly the tide comes in at one of the most popular beauty spots, Hilbury Island, off the Wirral coast. Last year, RNLI lifeguards in our region were the busiest in the UK. Manchester United's Marcus Rashford has met the former US President Barack Obama on a Zoom call. The pair spoke about the importance of giving back to the local community. He described the meeting as surreal.
I didn't start off with the thought that I was going to end up being the President of the United States. If I had had more talent, I would have probably preferred to be a professional athlete like Marcus.
If you give someone a helping hand at a young age, they'll go on to do things that, even they didn't think or believe that was achievable.
And just before we go back to Chris, here's a quick look at what's coming up very soon on the ITV News at 6:30 with Charlene.
Coming up, the police and MI5 failings that contributed to 2 murders in a terror attack. Jack Merritt and Saskia Jones were attacked by convicted terrorist Usman Khan at Fishmongers Hall in November 2019. He travelled alone to London despite being released from prison less than a year earlier. Also ahead, a 4th COVID vaccine gets the green light. And how the Great British Getaway might not be so great for seaside towns after all. Join us at 6:30.
Thanks, Charlene. And that's all from me for now. I'm back with an update later tonight. But for now, it's over to Chris Hall again in Porto. Chris.
Thanks, Anne. Well, next we turn to 2 of City's biggest and best known supporters. Johnny Marr, a musician shot to fame with the legendary band from Manchester, The Smiths, while Dennis Stewart was something of a cult hero in the 70s at Main Road before becoming a Manchester City director. Now, not only have they become great friends, but they're also next-door neighbours. Mike Hall popped round for a brew. Two Manchester icons. One, a footballing hero.
Oh, and what a goal by Stewart! What a goal!
The Stewart and Johnny Marr not only share a love of Manchester City, but a postcode too. How long have you guys lived next door to each other?
8 years.
It's actually 5, but he thinks it's a lot. He thinks, there you go, straight away, yeah. No, it's actually 5, Dennis.
It's only 5.
About 5 or 6 years. But we've known each other socially. When did you put your book out? It was like
2011. He came to get my book autographed at Winslow. Do you remember that?
What I remember is like someone like pulling me into a bookstore and saying, "Yeah, I got my book autographed here."
Because he was a big hero of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah, you have that thing with back then with boys as it was, where one of my mates was into Colin Bell and another one was into Mike Summerby, and a big mate of mine was into Racer Hartford, and sort of Dennis was my guy, so he's lumbered with me now.
When did you first realise that you were next door neighbours? Did Dennis kick his ball over the fence, or was he playing his music too loud? What was it?
We sort of bumped into each other, didn't we, in the neighbourhood, because I was running, and I'd hear these quips coming from out of a car window. Like, the last time I saw a pair of legs like that, it was hanging out of a tree. And what was the other good one? I'm running down the road there. It's like someone's let the ducks out of the park. Stuff along those lines, really. So
I was only trying to encourage him to keep going. That's all I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Because he was really, he still is, into his fitness and his running, and he was doing very well.
You say you've built a nice friendship now. Do you do much together?
Yeah, we hung out quite a bit, don't we? Yeah,
we get out the walk. We've had some. In fact, I owe him a lunch, because he got some.
True.
He got a bike for the lockdown, and we borrowed it, and he hasn't got it back, so I owe him a lunch.
And a bike.
We go to some games, and Dennis has been at a few of my gigs. I think I spent more time with Dennis than I have with some lead singers that I actually, funnily enough, I put his bins out now and again.
Dennis, we're coming up to about 40 years now since you finished playing for Manchester City. Can you believe the transformation in the club in that time?
I can, for the simple reason that the club is big enough to accommodate the size it is now. And I was delighted to be a part of the board that sort of got the club back on some sort of sensible level and realistic level, back into the new stadium, back in the Premier League with a profile, and obviously with the sales going through to the Abu Dhabi Corporation, and they realised the potential, and they've invested fantastically, and I think they've got an unbelievable strategy to develop the football club, not only as a domestic club, but also globally.
Can you quite believe what's happened, particularly in the last decade?
No. It's been incredible. I mean, first and foremost, the opportunity to see really good football is the thing, really, for me. And then, I'm from Manchester, so I'm evening up a few scores and levelling that out, because that was, as a City fan, it was really unusual that our rivals were just so in the ascendance. And for the City, I think it's worked out. It's made the City very much more interesting in a football sense, not just because I'm a City fan. It's kind of to and fro between City and United fans is more interesting, I think, especially for City fans, obviously.
What would it mean to win the Champions League?
I think we need to do it so we can move on. I don't mean to sound blasé about it, but I think City fans now feel like, let's get this first one done so we can carry on with greatness and cross our fingers. I think that's the plan.
Can I have your score predictions, Dennis?
Yeah, I think we'll score first, and I think that'll be the most important thing, because whoever scores first, the opposition will have to change tactics. We get the first goal, I think it'll be 2-0.
You confident, Johnny?
Yeah, I think we're going to surprise Chelsea, and if we turn up as we can do, I think if we dominate him in the first 20 minutes, I think we'll win 3-0, 3-1. I think we can beat them comfortably, yeah. And
if City do win it, which one of you is hosting the barbecue?
You don't want to see me anywhere near a fire.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be many celebrations, and quite justifiably. It's been a long, hard road there, and I think we'll thoroughly deserve it. The way we've played, the quality, the entertainment, the skill, the technique, I think we've all the elements that you want in a successful operation we have here.
Yeah, we'll be going out.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much.
No, thanks. Yeah, I don't think Rio Ferdinand or Jamie Carragher have got anything to worry about, but we're all right. We're all right.
Yes, what a double act. And if you want to hear more of that chat with Dennis and Johnny, it's on our latest podcast from our From the North series. It's such a huge weekend for football fans. We should say good luck as well, of course, to Blackpool and Morecambe, who are heading to Wembley for the playoff finals. But it's here at the Estadio do Dragão where the biggest prize in club football is about to be claimed. So many Manchester City legends down the years have never lifted the European Cup, names like Bell and Summerby and Chewett. Now it falls on the likes of Foden, Aguero and De Bruyne to not only lift a trophy but lift their club to somewhere they have never been before. So from the blue skies of Porto we say goodbye and good luck to the Blues of Manchester City. Goodbye.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Thank you. Good evening. Yes, football fans over in Portugal tomorrow will be treated to a lovely warm day, highs of 21 Celsius in Porto tomorrow, followed by a fine evening for the Champions League final between Chelsea and Manchester City, with a refreshing breeze just to take the edge off any heat during tomorrow evening. For the rest of us back here in the UK, the northwest of England and the Isle of Man having a nice few days weather-wise. It's warming up, plenty of sunshine on offer through the bank holiday weekend, mainly dry conditions, room for one or two rogue showers here and there, but high pressure is tending to dominate things from here on in, and it's with us as we go into the new week. So temperatures will be squeezing upwards into the low 20s as we go through this weekend and beyond. Plenty of sunshine on offer, and as a consequence UV levels will be high to very high, something to bear in mind if you're out and about. Back to you this evening. Any showers will tend to disperse, it'll become largely dry, a few breaks in the cloud, allowing one or two mist patches to develop, but I think with plenty of cloud cover around tonight, not a cold one, 11 or 12 Celsius. Tomorrow, the sun will be up at 4:50, setting at 9:27. Tomorrow then, it'll start rather cloudy for most of us, with bits and pieces of drizzle perhaps here and there and some mistiness. The sun will get out through tomorrow afternoon, largely dry conditions, becoming fine by tomorrow evening, a gentle breeze and just room for one or two very isolated showers. Temperature-wise, it'll get up to 19 Celsius, perhaps 20 in one or two spots in Cheshire. And looking ahead to the next few days, blue skies, plenty of sunshine, temperatures on the rise, high to very high UV levels though as we go through this week and beyond.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please.
Oh, lovely.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Oak and grass pollen will be on the rise as we go through the weekend. Nothing too much to worry about, but you might notice it. Moderate levels through the bank holiday weekend and into next week. Have a smashing weekend. Bye-bye.